Hello, welcome to Neumi's Crochet Nook. So today I'm going to show you a tutorial on how to do a table mat, Thalposh or a coaster. So I'm going to use a 5-ply acrylic yarn and I'm going to do with 4mm hook. You will be needing a scissor too. So let's get started. So first you can start with a slip knot. I have done a beginner's tutorial on how to do a slip knot, chain stitch and all. If you want, you can check my channel. I'll be giving the link in the description. 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. Slip stitch and close the round. To start the next round, we are going to chain 3. 1 2 and 3, chain 3, and we are going to do 2 chain again, and we are going to do 1 DC in the ring, 1 double crochet. Now we are going to chain 2 again, 1 and 2, and we are going to do a double crochet in the ring. Again chain 2, double crochet in the ring. Again chain 2, double crochet in the ring. Now let's count how much we did. Counting this 1 2 3 4 5. Again we need to do 5 more. So let's complete the round and meet at the end of the row. So I just finished. Let's count 1, including the 3 chain, it should be 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Now this is the last DC. We are going to chain 2 and we are going to close this round. This was a beginning 3 chain. We are going to do the slip stitch into the 3rd chain. 1 2 3. This is 3rd chain. Now we are going to chain 3 for the next row. 1 2 3. And we are going to do 2 double crochet in the DC space. So see, this is sits like this. We are doing on the 2 chain space. Now we are going to chain 9. Now we are doing this in the 2 chain space we did in the previous row. Again we are going to chain 9. And we are going to do 3 DC in the next 2 chain space. 1 2 and 3. See, this is the 9 chain. Again chain 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. And we are going to do in the next 2 chain space, we are going to do 3 DC. 1 and 2 and 3, like this. Again we are going to do the next chain 9. 9 and we are going to work 3 DC in our next 2 chain space. Now you need to keep on doing this and complete this row, and let's meet at the end of the row. Okay, you have to do it 9 times. So I have done like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Now I am going to do 9th one. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Now we are going to do 3 double crochet in the 2 chain space here. One, two, and 3. So we have 9 loops here. 1, 2. So the last one, while closing, it will be our 10th loop. For closing this row, we are going to chain 3. We are not going to chain 9. Then we are going to yarn over twice. Triple double crochet. And we are going to the beginning 3 chain here. And we are coming out. We have 4 loops here. Now we need to yarn over and go to the first 2 loops first. Now we have 3 loops. Yarn over, go to the next 2, then yarn over. So that's it. So we have closed this round. Now we need to begin the next round by chaining 3. Chaining 3, and we are going to start from here only. We are going to do 2 double crochet, 1 and 2. See, we have done here treble crochet, that is yarn overing twice and doing the double crochet. There only we are doing this 2. We are starting a new row by chaining 3 and doing this here on this part only. Again we are going to chain 7, 5, 6, 7 and going to do 3 double crochet like we did for the previous row. We are going to do on the 9 chain space. 1, 2 and 3. Now we are going to chain 7 again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and going to do 3 double crochet. 1. We are doing all this in the 9 chain space. 3, again chain 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, chain 7 and do in the next 9 chain space. 1, 2 and 3. Now complete this row and let's meet at the end of the row. I'm going to finish this round. Let's count the loops here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to do the 10th one. So we are going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and we are going to slip stitch into our 3rd chain near the beginning 3 chain. On top of the 3rd chain we are going to do a slip stitch and close this round. Now to begin the next round, see, this is like this. Now to begin the next row we have to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 and we have to work 2 double crochet like the same here. On top of this, same thing you have to repeat. So on top of the next DC you are going to do 1 more DC and on the other DC going to do the next DC. Now it's 3 DC. Now we have to work on top of this 7 chain. Now we are going to work 2 chain, 1, 2 chain, then we are going to work 1 DC inside this 7 ring, 1 DC, then again we are going to chain 2, then 1 DC, then we are going to put 2 chain again, and we are going to work on top of this 3 DC. We are going to work 3 DC on top of this DC. One, two, and 3. See, like this. So on top of the 7 DC we will be doing 2 DC with 2 chains each. So after this 3 DC we are going to work 2 chain, then we are going to work 1 DC, then again we are going to work 2 chain, then 1 DC, then we are going to work 2 chain again, then we are going to work on top of this 3 DC. So the DC will be the same, just we are working on top of the chain. The pattern is 2 chain, 2 DC and 2 chain. See, 2 chain, 1 DC, 2 chain, 1 DC. Same again we are going to work here also, 2 chain, then 1 DC, again 2 chain, 1 DC, again 2 chain, again going to work on the 3 chain. So follow this pattern till the end of this row. Work on 3 DC on top of the 3 DC, and on top of this, inside this chain, 7 chain, you have to work 2 chain, 1 DC, 2 chain and 1 DC. So let's meet at the end of this row. So we have finished this row. Now we'll close this row by doing a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning stitch. Now to begin the next row, we are going to chain 3 as usual and do a DC on top of the previous 3 DC. Now after 3 chain, now we are going to work in the 2 chain spaces. So we are basically going to do an increase of DC on top of the 2 chain. We are going to do chain inside these 2 chain space. Now we will begin with 2 chain. After doing the 3 DC, we are going to do 2 chain, then we are going to do 1 DC in the 2 chain space, then again do 2 chain, and don't do on top of this DC. We are going to work only in the space, 2 chain space, then 1 more 2 chain, then we are going to work in the next 2 chain space, 1 DC, again we are going to do 2 chain, and we are going to do 3 DC on top of the previous DC. So this is the pattern. we have worked on 2 chain space. As you can see, we have done separate DC by chaining 2 chain. Now we will move on to the next side of the row by chaining 2, then 1 DC in the next 2 chain space, then chaining 2 again, work on the next 2 chain space, then chain 2, then the next DC, then chain 2, and again work on the 3 DC as it is. Now complete the row and let's meet at the end of the row. We have finished the row and now we are going to close the row by chaining 2 and doing a slip stitch in the beginning, 3rd chain. Now we are going to start the next row by chaining 3 and doing a 2 DC on top of the previous 2 DC. Now we are going to do 2 chain 1 DC as we had done in the previous row. Previous row it was 3 separate DC. Now we are going to do 4 separate DC by chaining 2 in the middle, 2 chain 1 DC, 1 DC, 2 chain 1 DC, 2 chain 1 DC, 2 chain again 1 DC. See, now it's 4 separate DC. Again we are going to work 2 chain and 3 DC on top of the previous 3 DC. 1 DC. See, basically we are doing an increase of the DC here. First row we have done 2 DC, 2 separate DC, then we had done 3 separate DC. Now it's 4 separate DC. Again 3 more rows you have to do with 5 separate DC, 6 separate DC and 7 separate DC. The pattern will be the same, only the increase in the DC will be there. Now work on that and let's meet at the end of the row. 3 more rows. In the 7th row you will be having 5 separate DC. In the 8th row you will be having 6 separate DC. 9th row you will be having 7 separate DC. So finish it and come soon. So here I have completed the rows. We had stopped near 1, 2, 3 and 4. I have completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The pattern was same, following the 3 DC equally and increasing the DC pattern. So now we are going to close this row. Now chain 2 and we are going to close this row here. Do a slip stitch. Now we have to chain 3, do a DC with chain 3 and do 2 DC as usual. Then 2 chain 1 DC, then 2 chain 1 DC, then 2 chain. Again you have to be careful after doing the 4th DC. 3. This is the 4th DC. As usual we are doing 2 chain 1 DC, 2 chain 1 DC. After the 4th DC we are going to do DC not in the chain space. We are going to do straight inside the DC here after the 4th DC, like this, without chaining. We are just doing then in the chain space, like this it will be. Then 2 chain, then repeat the same. 1, then 2 chain, now you can count like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 DC will be there, 3 DC will be together, then repeat on 3 DC 3 DC, 1 2 and 3. Now chain 2, go in the chain space and do DC. 1 2, one, 2, 3, 4. After 4th, work DC in the DC, straight into the DC. Then 2 chain, then 2 chain, like this. 1 2 3 4 5 6 will be together, 7 8 9, then repeat this. So complete this row and come back soon. So I have finished this row also. So we'll be closing this row with 2 chain, and as usual on the 3rd chain we'll be doing a slip stitch. Now for the next row we are going to chain 3 again, 1 2 and 3, 3 chain, and we'll be repeating this DC, like this. Then we'll be doing chain 2, then DC in the chain space, then chain 2, DC. After doing the 3rd DC, in the previous row we did, after doing the 4th DC we did this together. Now after doing the 3rd DC, that is after this 1 2 3, then we are going to work on the DC, not in the hole. 1 2 3. See, after 1 2 3 4 5, then we are going to chain 6. 1 2 3 4 5 6. In this 3 DC we are not going to work. After chaining 6 we are going straight into the next chain space, next 2 chain space, and doing 1 2 and 3. So the pattern is changed. From starting we did 3 DC as usual, then 1 2, then we have done 3, then we have chained 6, then we are doing the same pattern here, 3 6. We are not going to work on this 3, instead we are doing a chain of 6 on top of it. Again chain 2 and work in the 2 chain space, like this. work on this 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now repeat it. Chain 2, then chain 2, then chain 2 from the third DC. You have to start the pattern, work on the DC, then work in the, so 3 DCs here, then chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are not working on top of this, instead we are going straight here and doing 1, then 1 on top of it, then 1 on top of 1 inside the chain, then 2, then repeat the pattern. So let's meet at the end of this row after completing this row. Okay, so I have reached the end of this row. Now I'll be doing this for you all. So chain 6. So after chaining 6, we are not working on this 3 DC. Now work on this 1, 2 and 3. Now 2 chain, then 1 more 2 chain. Now we are going to close this row. By going to the third chain and doing a slip stitch. Now see, this is the pattern we did. Isn't it looking nice? Now we are moving to the next row. Now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and we are doing the same thing. And we are doing chain 2, and chain 2. Now we are going to, we have done 1 here, 2 chain, and after doing 2, we are going to work here 1, 2, and in the 2 chain space we are going to do 3 like this. After this 3 DC, usual 3 DC, we are doing 1 double crochet. Then after this 1, we are working on top of this 1, 2, 3 together. Now we are going to do 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chain, and we are going to work here. We are not going to work on this 3 DC here. We are going to work, we are going to do a slip stitch, and again we are going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we are going to straight on top of here. After, we are not going to work on this 3 DC also. We are going to work here 1, 2 and 3, then chain 2, then we are going to work on this space here 1, then chain 2, then same pattern 1, 2 and 3, like this. So we have started with 3 DC as usual. Then after 1 DC we are working on this stitch. After 1 DC, earlier it was after 2 DC we worked the 3 DC. Now after 1 DC we are 3. Then we are chaining 6, doing a slip stitch here on the previous 6 chain, then 6 chain, then working. Without working here, we are moving towards here. Then we are doing the same pattern. Now after this we are doing 3 chain, 1, then 2 chain, 1, 2, 3. Now we are going to work 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and going to do slip stitch over the previous 6 chain, like this, slip stitch. Now 6 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then going to do like this, 1, 2, 3. Okay, then complete this row and we'll meet at the end of the row. So I'm going to close this row. As you can see, I have reached the last DC here, and go to the 3rd stitch of the beginning chain and do a slip stitch. So that is the, see, this is the pattern. On top of the 6 chain we had done 6 chain and slip stitch and 6 chain. Now we are going to do the next row, 1, 2, 3, and same DC. Follow the same DC, 3 DC. See the 3 DC we are doing, the pattern is going like the same way. There is no change in that. Now we are going chain 2, go to the 2 chain space, chain 2, go to the next 2 chain space. Now chain 2 and go to this and do a DC on top of the 3 DC here. Like after this 3 DC we have done 3 separate DC. 1 DC is on top of the 3 DC. After doing 1 DC on top of this middle DC, again chain 2 and do 3 DC on top of the 6 chain. 1, 2 and 3. First 3 DC, 3 separate DC. 1 DC is on top of the middle of the 3 DC here. Again on top of the 6 chain we are doing 3 DC. Again we are going to chain 5. Then on top of the 6 chain we are going to do another 3 DC. 1, 2, 1, 2 and 3. Now 2 chain, 1 DC on top of the middle DC here. In between the DC we are doing 1 DC, then 2 chain, then here, then 2 chain, then in between here, then 2 chain, then this will be the same 3 DC here. 1, 2 and 3. Again 2 chain, go here, again 2 chain, work here, again 2 chain, work in the middle of this DC here. So you are after 3 DC here you will be getting separate 3 DC, then 2 chain, then work 3 DC on top of the 6 chain here, 1, 2 and 3. Now work 5 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and 3 DC on top of this 6 chain here, 1, 2, 3, then 2 chain, work on top of this middle DC here, then 2 chain, then follow the pattern. Now complete the pattern and let's meet at the end of this row. So friends, we are back. Now I'm going to close this row. As you can see, what I have done is, now on top of the 6 chain we have done 3 DC and we have chained 5. Again on top of the 6 chain we are going to do 3 DC, 2 and 3. So 3 DC, then we are going to chain 2. Then we are going to work on this middle DC, then 2 chain, then 1 DC here, then 2 chain, 1 DC, then 2 chain, and going to close this row. Now to start the next row, 3 chain, 3 DC as usual, 1, 2 and 3, see like this. Now 2 chain, work in this 2 DC space, 2, then again 1, 2, 3, then 2 chain, then work here, then 2 chain, and work in the middle of this 3 DC here. So we got here 5 separate DC after this 3 DC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then chain 2, and inside this 5 chain we are going to do 3 DC, 1, 2 and 3. See, after 3 DC, 5 separate DC, then inside this 5 chain we are going to do 3 DC, then 2 chain, work in this 3 DC, middle 3 DC, then 2 chain, then repeat this pattern, 2 chain, see like this. After 5 chain we are repeating the same thing, like in middle of the 3 DC we are doing 1 DC here, then 1, 1, we need to get total 5 after this 3 DC, 2 chain, then 2 chain, then 2 chain, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, again same 3 DC have to follow here, 1, 2 and 3, then 2 chain, 1 DC here, 2 chain, 2 chain, two chain, then 2 chain, work in middle of the 3 DC, then 2 chain, Now count. After this we got 1 2 3 4 5. Then we are going to work straight in this 5 chain. We are going to do 3 DC. 1 2 3. Got it? So this is the pattern. Inside the 5 chain we are going to do 3 DC, and we need to get 5 separate DC outside. 1 2 3 4 5. You need to be careful while doing this, and the 3 DC will be remaining the same. Only in the middle you will be having slight changes. See, it's coming like odd number. Like here it is 1, then 1 2 3, then it is 1 2 3 4 5. Okay. Now let's meet after completing this full row. So I am going to close this row. I have reached the end of the row. On top of the 5 chain we had done 3 DC. We'll be getting 5 separate DC after this 3 DC. Now going to close this. 4. Working one more DC here. 1 2 3 4 5. Then you can put 2 chain and close this row. So this is it. Now we are moving to another row. Now we are going to change the pattern. We are going to chain 5. 1 2 3 4 5. All while we used to do 3 chain and start the row. Now we are going to chain 5, and now we are going to work here 1 double crochet after chaining 5. In the next 2 space 1 double crochet. Then on top of this DC we are going to do 1 DC and 1 more DC in this space. That is 3 DC here we are doing. After doing chain 5 we have done 3 DC. Now chain 2 and work in the spaces. See, like this, 5 chain. This is 5 chain, 3 DC on top of this 1 DC. Again we are going to work on this 2 chain space before. We need to have 9 separate DC with chain space of 2. You need to note 1 2 3 4 we have done. In middle of this 3 DC we need to do 1 more DC. Just count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 we have done. Again 2 more single DC should be there. 9. Then 2 chain. Then 1 2 and 3. See, we have started with 5 chain here, then 3 DC, then 9 separate single DC. It should be there. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. After that 1 more 3 DC. Then we reach this 3 DC pair. Here what we are going to do is we are going to chain 5. 1 2 3 4 and 5, and inside this we are going to do a slip stitch like this. 1 more 5 chain. 1 2 3 4 and 5, and work on the DC next to it. 1 2 and 3. See, after the separate 9 DC we have chained 5, done a slip stitch inside this 3 DC, middle of the 3 DC here, then again chained 5, and when it went into this first DC and did 3 DC again continue doing double crochet, separate double crochet of 9. 1 2 3. You need to chain 2. Do not forget to chain 1, 2, 3, 4. In the middle also we can do 1, 5. Then chain 2. Then so after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, again 2 more we need to do. 8, 9, sorry, 2 more, 1, 2, 3, again chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, again work inside this slip stitch, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then work 3DC, so that is the pattern. So the 3DC we did all this while. We need to decrease it by doing a slip stitch by chaining 5 here, and note that you need to have 9 separate DC. Okay, after doing this 3DC at both ends, inside you need to have 9 separate DC. So let's complete this row and meet soon. Have reached the end of this row. As you can see, as I told you, you should be careful. Here you are reducing this 5 chain and 1 slip stitch you are doing in this 3DC 5 chain. Then after this 3DC we have to get 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now 2 chain, 1, 2 and 3, then 2 chain, and while closing have to yarn over twice. We are going to do double treble and go into the 3rd chain and do your double treble. Okay, now we are going to start the next row by chaining 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and we are going straight to the 5 chain and doing a slip stitch here. So we have chain 7 and go straight to the 5 chain and did a slip stitch here. 7 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and here leave this 3DC and going straight to the next 2DC gap. 1, 2 and 3, 17, leave this 3DC and go here and do this. Again separate DC we have to do. Again separate DC. 1, 2 chain, 1, 2 chain, 1, 2 chain, 1, 2 chain, 2, 3, 4. Separate DC you need to get. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then 2 chain. Then 1, 2, 3, again 7 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, go straight to the 5 chain and do a slip stitch, then one more 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, do a slip stitch on the next 5 DC, again do a 7 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and leave this 3 DC and go straight here, 1, 2 and 3. See, we have done 7 chain, then slip stitch 7, then 3 DC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then again 3 DC, then 7 chain, 7 chain is here on top of the 5 chain, then again we have done 3 DC here, again we are going to do separate 6 double crochet, then 3, likewise complete the row. So friends, we have reached at the end of this row. As you can see, I have worked 3 7 chain on top of the previous 5 chain here. Then after doing the 3 DC here, we have to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate DC, then 3 DC. Then I am going to close this row here, 3 chain and doing double treble on the treble we did previously to close that last row. So again we are starting, see this is it, starting it will be like this. Again we are starting this row with 7 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain and going and doing a slip stitch in the previous 7 chain, then 7 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, previous chain closing this, doing a DC here, then 7 chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 and not working on this 3 DC, going into the 2 DC here and working 1 DC here. So after the 7, doing 3 7 chain loop, now we are not working on this 3 DC over here, we are going straight to the next DC and doing 3 DC there, 1, 2 and 3, then 2 chain, work on the separate DCs here, 1, 2 and 3. Then on the next one you need to do 3 DC, 2 and 3. Now on top of this 3 DC, what we are going to do is we are going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, do a slip stitch on top of the previous 7 chain, then 7 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, here also one slip stitch, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so here also one slip stitch, again 4th times 7 chain, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not going to work on this 3 DC here, going straight to next DC and doing 3 DC there, 1, 2 and 3, now working separate DC, see like this, previous row we had 3 rows of 7 chains, loop. Now we have 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, and between the 3 DCs you need to know that we will be having again 3 separate DC. Then work 1 2 and 3 DC here. Now start working 7 chain, 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. First slip stitch. So it's like this, friends. So let's complete this row and meet at the end of the row. So friends, we have reached at the end of this row. Now we are going to do 3 chain. We are going to close this row with 3 chain and yarn over twice and go to the treble we closed in the previous row. It's like this. See, in this row we had 4 loops of 7 chain. Now we are going to start our next row. Again only 2 rows remaining. So we are going to start with 7 chain. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, and go into the loop and do a slip stitch. Then 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Then 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Then 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Then after, we are not going to work in this 3 DC. We are going straight to the next double crochet. 1 2 and 3. Now we need to put 2 chain, 1 2, and we'll be leaving this DC and going to work on the next DC here. That is 1 2 and 3. See the design how it came up. So after this 3 DC, 2 chain and 3 DC. Now you will be having 5 loops of 7 chain. 1 2 3 4 5. Now after this 3 DC, again chain 7, 3 4 5 6 7. Go to the next 7 chain and do a slip stitch. Again 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Go to the 7 chain and do a slip stitch. Again 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Slip stitch. 7 chain, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Slip stitch. 1 2 3 4. Again one more 7 chain. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Go to the next DC and do the 3 DC. 1 2 and 3. Chain 2. Leave this 1 DC here. Move on to the next 1 DC. 1 2 and 3. Okay, now complete this row and come soon. Again we have only 1 row remaining to do. Let's end up soon. 3 chain, and then I'll be closing with the treble twice, yarn over, go to the previous treble and do like this. Now our last row, we are going to start with a chain of 9. All this while we were doing 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. 9 chain, go into this 7 chain and slip stitch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just reach at the end of the last row. Now I am doing my last 9 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And I am going to close here, going to the treble here and going to do a slip stitch. For the last one, we are not going to do the treble, we are going to do the chain and do the slip stitch. So that's it. Now I'll cut off the extra yarn. Now chain 1. So chain 1 and cut off the extra yarn, and if you want you can finish the end by hook or with your needle. Now you can, if you want to see videos on how to fasten the remaining yarn and all or finish the work, you can see my previous videos in the channel. So that's it friends. So this is a big one. I finished it within 1 day. So friends, I hope you liked this video on Thalposh or Tablemat. If you haven't subscribed to Neumi's Crochet yet, please do subscribe and press the bell icon to get notification. Until then, bye bye. So friends, give a fold like this so that the 3DC will look like a sun ray. Otherwise you can see like this. This is normal one. If you give a slight fold like this in the middle of the 3DC, it will give a magnificent look. See, slight fold, so that's, see, it's looking lovely now.